Yeah, if they wanted to do it, they would have to do it for reasons beyond we just feel like it.
Well, see, Nintendo is a money factory. Anything they put out, they're going to sell millions of copies and make lots of money. So the question is, how much money do they want to make? Because they could spit out 2D games like water.
I mean, seriously, there's so many fans out there that love A Link to the Past. I mean, there's probably just as many who think A Link to the Past is the best game in the Zelda series as people think Ocarina of Time is the best game in the series.
Or that Ocarina of Time is just a 3D A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that. So, I mean, I think if they made a 2D game, it would have to be, if they wanted to make money from it, it would have to be reminiscent of A Link to the Past in a way, because it would bring those people in that love that game, which there is a lot of them. I mean, there's some people I know that won't even play the 3D games because they hate them. They don't think, I'm not even sure exactly what it is they hate about them, but they love A Link to the Past to the point of hating 3D games.
Yeah, I guess it's just picking a side. You know, they want to be the old cool people who were before Zelda got, famous. The indies.
The purists.
Well, it's also one of those things that Nintendo, they keep pushing the casual market, which a lot of the casual market they're hitting are people that used to play games, but don't anymore. And that could be an interesting aspect to think about if they made like a 2D A Link to the Past styled looking game. Like, it could bring back some of those people that they were playing A Link to the Past when they were, in their 20s, early 20s, and now they're like 40, and they haven't played Zelda in forever, and they're like, hey, what's this? That's the Zelda I remember.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. That was the idea behind New Super Mario Brothers Wii, I'm pretty sure. Nostalgia.
Yeah, yeah, 10 million plus worldwide sales. Yeah, pretty sure they're doing pretty good.
I mean, personally, if they did a 2D game, I would much rather them do something original, but I know Nintendo, if they did do it, it would be something to get people back, people who played A Link to the Past and haven't played it again.
They might pull the Pokemon and just do a Legend of Zelda remake or something, and that will bring in dollars without having to do that much work.
Well, Nintendo's always interesting because, they are the innovators in the industry. They're always finding new ways to do things. But one thing they've always been terrible about is franchises. They milk especially their Mario and Zelda especially, plus Pokemon now. I mean, they milk those franchises like nothing.
Like Team Rocket.
Right.
I mean, they're not good at necessarily making new, unique franchises. I mean, the last one they really came up with was Pikmin, and even that franchise seems to have died out.
If you count story-based ones, because there is
things like Metroid.
Yeah,
there's Metroid, but they don't milk Metroid like they do like a Mario. Mario's in everything. I mean,
yeah, there's more than 350 Mario games.
Now Zelda, there's 2 Tingle games that are Zelda related. There's Tetris Trackers. There's Link's Crossbow Training. Not to mention being a big featured player on some of the earlier Super Smash Brothers and Super Smash Brothers Brawl and Melee, like being one of the big characters on the cover used to help sell sales.
He was in Soul Calibur.
Yeah, he was in Soul Calibur too.
I actually think it would be really interesting if they did what they do with Metroid, because they seem to have a lot of freedom with Metroid. They let random people just mess with it. They let Retro do it, and now they're letting Team Ninja make their way with it. They don't seem to have that much freedom with Zelda.
But see, I think that's easily explainable. Metroid has never been a big selling game for them. Like, if it was for any other company, Metroid would be a massive game. But its best-selling game has only sold, around 3 million copies. And the best-selling Zelda game is 7 million plus. I mean, New Super Mario Bros. Wii just pumped out 10 million plus. It's only been out a few months. I mean, it's one of those. Metroid has never sold as well as their other franchises, so I think that's why they were comfortable saying, "Hey, look, this is going to become our hardcore gamer title, and we're going to let more hardcore teams like Retro and Team Ninja screw with it because I mean, it's not getting the same sales as the other games already." So we can push this to a different audience.
I mean, I still don't really see what they're so nervous about, because I mean, it's like they put out 2 Zelda games generally around the same time as each other. That seems to be their trend, and I don't see what's stopping them from letting other people take the Zelda franchise and do what they want with it. I mean, with supervision, obviously they did that with Capcom, but I mean, it's not they would make more money. People would still buy it, and I don't think people would get tired of it either. So I don't see why they're not doing it. It seems like it would be an easy way to get money, to me at least.
Part of it's probably a lot to do with the fact that, I mean, when you think about Metroid and you think about like Mario and all those other games that they supposedly do these things with, like how much in-depth backstory is involved with those things. I mean, when you think about the complexity of what Zelda represents and how careful each detail would have to be, I mean, can you imagine the turmoil it would cause if some company came in and made some small change that like retcons half the series and Nintendo doesn't catch it and they release this game? Like, just there's so much more at stake, I think, which is part of why they won't do it.
And God help us if anything conflicts the bloody timeline. Theorists will go crazy.
Seriously, can you imagine though, because when you think about it, it's partly maybe to do with people like us. We are so involved in following their every little move with the story and the timeline and this and that. Like, there's nothing to really catch them with that on things like Mario and Metroid. I mean, I'm no expert on Metroid, but from what I understand, it's nowhere near as complicated.
It's not.
No, it's
The
straightforward.
Mario timeline is so complicated. The Mario timeline, if you include like the cartoons and the hotel adventures, it's like...
I actually do remember somebody trying to put like a timeline together. I don't know how successful they were though.
Yeah, like, why are they in the Mushroom Kingdom? Are they from Italy, or are they from America, or are they from the Mushroom Kingdom?
Oh, it's all confusing.
Is this a split? It's a split timeline, I think.
Oh no.
A 3-way split, different
Multiple dimensions.
Blue swamp all over again.
I mean, okay. I think what they could do with Zelda, if they were worried about that, if that is the thing they're worried about, is people retconning or whatever, they could do. I feel like they could tell those people that you can't do a game that has anything to do with the timeline. They could do like a Majora's Mask game where it's like a spin-off of one that's already happened or something like that. And if they do that, it wouldn't hurt the timeline as much. At least I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, well, Zelda's quite close to home. Maybe Miyamoto and Yuma, they don't want people, messing with it. It could be as simple as that.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's a pride thing. Mario and Zelda, they're Miyamoto's babies.
No, my theory is that they did entrust Zelda to an outside company once. I think that scared him into submission, into never allowing it again.
Yeah, see, I know you're talking about Philips. I don't think that was generally on purpose, and they had no control over that. They gave them the rights to it, then they backed out of it, and Philips just made those god-awful games because they knew that they could sell them. That's really their only reason.
Maybe they were trying to ruin the Zelda series.
Maybe, I don't know.
I doubt it, because if you look at it, they needed something big to get the Philips CDI off the ground, because they didn't have any like big franchises. And Zelda, when they got that contract with Nintendo, it was like, oh my god, we have an established franchise that we can use to help launch with this team with Nintendo. And then Nintendo's like, see you later, we don't like the Philips CDI. And they still had the license, obviously, to make the game. So they're like, well, we're going to use these games to launch the series, the console. What we found out is that Philips is not a game developer. That's what those games proved. And with that, this podcast has already ran a little long. We're going to wrap it up. I want to thank Nick from legendofzelda.com and Cody from Zelda Universe. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. It was much fun. Thanks for the invitation.
Catch that Pikachu.
No problem. Last minute podcast for the win. And then we'll thank Phil and Ben, the fellow Zelda Informer staff. Hopefully you guys will be in future casts with me. See everybody later.